Do you want to build a stronger core without having to do crunches? I'm Hannah, a yoga teacher with over 11 years teaching experience, helping people just like you feel better in their bodies. So to achieve smooth movements, it's important to engage our center most of the time, but without excessively tensing that part of the body. There are going to be no crunches or sit-ups in today's practice. We're going to practice mindful movement on our mats today so that we can ensure that our movements always originate from our center. And you might wonder, but does this method truly work, Hannah? Does it build a strong core? Absolutely, but it does so in a slower and more refined way. Remember, building a strong core is not just about the aesthetics, the six-pack, right? It's about gaining control, stability in our everyday activities. So think of today's practice on our mat as a way for us to increase our awareness of movement patterns, both on and off the mat. And ultimately, this is going to help us gain more control over our posture and our daily activities. So let's begin by bringing ourselves to a standing posture at the top edge of your mat. Plant the feet a good hip width apart. Let the arms just drop and relax beside the body. And just take observation here as to where the body kind of wants to go. No doubt you are not standing perfectly still here. Maybe add a little gentle micro bend into the knees and just see where the weight goes in your feet. See whether you're tensing any particular part of the body. I notice, for example, my right thigh and glute have been switched on just to hold me here. So I'm just consciously seeing if I can release those muscles. And maybe you'll notice there'll be a shift heading somewhere else in the body. And that's okay. You're just going to stay with those gentle shifts for the next couple of moments as we breathe in and out, if possible, through the nose. Try to calm the breath as much as possible. Try to notice whether you have begun to hold the breath as you observe parts of the body. So just to be able to stand here in a tall shape, we are already having to engage our stabilizing core muscles, just to bring our head on top of our shoulders on top of our hips, and our hips on top of our heels. Today's focus is about this natural alignment and how we can work with our body in terms of building that internal core strength with every move that we make, but in a really easeful, graceful way. So shift the weight now towards your right foot and just see if you can start to hover the left knee, gather the knee in, take a squeeze, and it's a little bit like we're walking on the moon here. So release that squeeze of the knee, bend deep through both legs, and shift over to the second side. So fix your eyes onto something that doesn't move, and that'll help bring a little sense of balance. And there's this gentle bounce from side to side. Could you now do so without squeezing the knee in with your hands? So you're just using your abs to lift and hover the knee as high as you did with squeezing that knee in if possible. So that gentle sort of walking on the moon, side to side action. And you'll notice that it isn't just your core that's needed here. There's loads of muscles having to integrate here. Glutes, quads, hams are all having to activate. Our feet muscles and back muscles too. And if you can remember which side that you started on, we're going to finish off to that second side. And then come through to stillness. Reach the arms upwards, inhale. And then keep the hands reaching. Just try to now lengthen through the spine. So I'm looking straight forwards. Again, a micro bend in the knees here so that we're not overstretching through the legs. If you can, push the pubic bone slightly forwards and up as though you're drawing the pubic bone towards the navel. Feel your belly tone and draw in, lower ribs stay in. Keep breathing though, so that you notice the lower abdomen start to switch on. And then start to reach your hands over towards the left side. If this is too much, just don't go so far or relax through the bottom arm perhaps. I'm going to keep both arms up here. Turn the gaze wherever you feel like you can still breathe and be comfortable through the neck. One more breath. And then soften the knees even more and draw your right shoulder forwards and lower your fingertips towards the outside edge of your left foot. Keep the knees bent and just roll your way through to center. And we're going to roll our way up to stand. Keep the knees bent as you stack each vertebrae, rolling your way all the way up. Once you are standing, sweep the arms back up. Inhale. Moving gracefully and slowly, you might take the gaze up for a moment and then keep the arms lifted. Look forwards once again. Soften the shoulders. Again, micro bend through both knees. Attempt to draw pubic bone towards the navel just lightly. It's not a big direction here of a scoop of the lower back. And then see if you can push the hips a little bit forwards, again, only a little way. And then start to reach your hands over towards the right side. And we're trying to avoid collapsing forwards with one hip. So try to avoid your left shoulder and left hip coming forwards. Just go to a place where you can still breathe and notice perhaps how we're having to really switch on and engage through the abdomen. One more breath. And then look towards the outer edge of your right foot. Soften the knees even more and lower the fingers towards the outside of your right foot. One leg might be more bent than the other. And then just swing your way to center here. Take a few more moments in ragdoll. You might choose to bring the arms into a different shape. Let your head lull. One more breath. And then we'll roll up to stand. Take your time. You can take several rounds of breaths there. Really soften through the belly as you do that. Shift the weight into the right foot. Hover the left knee, reach the arms up. So we're using activation of core, of legs. Little micro bend in the standing leg can be helpful. Okay, so we're going to attempt to reach the left toes to the back of the mat and end up in an arrowhead with the arms staying forwards. If you need to, you can reach the arms back instead. So bend deeper through your standing leg. Start to tip the heart forwards and then start to extend the left toes really slowly. Land left toes to the back of the mat. So it's a little bit like a high lunge, but you're leaning the heart forwards and reaching the arms forwards too. So adding the arms is going to add extra sort of stress. Engagement is needed through the core. If you need to back off, maybe reach the arms out to the side or behind you. Notice if your left hip is stacked on top of the right, can you keep left hip bone and right hip bone the same level? One more breath. We're also obviously firing up through that right leg. And then lower the hands to the earth. We're ending up in a three-legged dog. So sweep the right foot all the way up, right up behind you. And then open the right hip, open through that right side waist. See if you can avoid lifting the right shoulder higher than the left. So we're not going into deep flexion of the lumbar. We're keeping ourselves long through the right side body. And then whatever you need to do through that right foot, I've now chosen to push through the ball of my right foot so that I find even more engagement through right side body. One more breath. We're going to end up in a three-legged plank. If you need to, you'll drop the right foot to the earth. I'm going to see if I can hover it. So start to come forwards. Hips are level now. See if you can keep the right foot hovered. Hold for 3. You can always drop left knee for 2. And then inhale, lift the right leg, open the right hip, push the ball of the right foot high. Hold, breathe. So we're moving really steadily back and forth here. We're going to do this 2 more times. See if you can really focus on your core. And that's not just through where the belly button is. We're looking at low abdomen and even the back muscles as well. So coming forwards, high 3-leg plank. If we can, hover, hold, hips are roughly aligned. Breathe. And then lift the leg up and back. Hold. Can you lift the right leg any higher? Lift the right glute and hip. So it's an open 3-legged. And then slowly leaning your way forwards. Hold. Hover. Breathe. You've got this. Lower the foot. If you'd like to, lower the knees. I'm choosing to lower the knees and they've landed behind the hips. I want to have my shoulders roughly on top of those heel of hands and engaging the core lightly, hug elbows in, just a little dip with the elbows. So we're having to keep our core engaged as well here. You're going to lower down just a little bit more. And then all the way between the elbows, exhale. Now we're going to think about our cobra. We want to use core to lift. You can keep the hands touching the earth, but start to lift up with an engagement of core. And then lowering back down again. Exhale. Let's do that again. Lift a little bit higher this time. Engaging the core, and then exhale, lowering. Last time, you're going to lift up high as you feel comfortable. Just for a little demo, this is me with my core really relaxed. I'm pretty flexible in the lumbar. This is super relaxed, just hanging out. This is not where I want to be. I want to engage through the core, which means I'm not as flexible. We're always balancing flexibility and strength combined. Push the hips back towards the heels. Lounge in a variation of child's for at least 1 to 2 full breaths. And meeting in downward facing. From here, we'll be making our way to the top edge of the mat any way that you like, step, walk, or jump. And then rise up, come to stand. Thumbs to heart, exhale. This time, shift the weight into your left foot. Hands are going to rise up, hover the right knee. Inhale. We pause, we breathe. Come back to your center. Bend deeper through the standing leg. Lean the heart forwards. Start to tip the hips back and really controlled stepping the right toes to the back of the mat. We're into our arrowhead variation again. I'm choosing the arms forwards on this one today. Try to create a little space between ears and shoulders. We're not trying to lift and touch ears to shoulders, but we can pull the shoulders away from those sit bones and hips. See if you can have both hips the same level so you're not lifting the right hip higher than the left. One more breath. And then lowering the hands to the earth, we're heading to that 3-legged dog. So sweep left toes all the way up and back. And we are opening, we're inviting an opening through that left hip. I'm trying to avoid lifting through my left shoulder. And I'm seeing if I can use some good glute engagement here. Left thigh engagement. It's always combining muscles together to help with our smooth transitions. We're going to come forwards to our high plank. So remember, you could do this with the right knee landing, okay? Otherwise, you're into your high plank. One more breath. And then lift the leg up and back. We're moving slowly. We're seeing if we can pause for a breath or two in each pose. And then coming forwards again. High plank, your variation. Stabilize the hips so they're the same level. And then lift the leg up and back. Lifting the left hip today. Last time, come forwards, hover, hold. And then drop the left toes, dropping the knees. We're going to hover down an inch, hug elbows in. We're using our core to stay long from knee to crown of head. And a little lower, squeeze elbows in. And then all the way down between the elbows to the earth. This time, hover the hands, engage the core as you lift through a little baby cobra, and then lower back down. Do that again, lifting a little higher, and then back down. This time, keep the hands earthed, lift up, engage the core. Some of you might choose to hover the thighs. Remember, we're not just hanging out in flexibility. We want to keep that core switched on. And then come and meet in downward facing dog. From your downward dog, step, walk, or jump to the top of your mat. Take a halfway lift and fold. Hands rise, thumbs to heart. This time, shift the weight to your right foot and hover the left knee, hands rise. And then keeping the hands lifted, bend through the standing leg, lean the heart forwards, and ever so slowly, step the left toes back. You're into your arrowhead. Try to find lovely long alignment from crown of head to your left heel. Can you feel the length of your spine here? Feel the curves of your spine still. This time we're going to windmill to a warrior two, bringing the back heel down. And then bring your hands behind the back of your head, interlace the fingers. So I said there was no crunches. I should come up with a different word for this. This is like a little side sway. Keep your right knee bent in that warrior two shape with the legs. Maybe you could look forwards here. And then as you inhale, start to lift the right elbow up. And as you exhale, maybe you can dip down a little further. See if you can hold here. Keep breathing. And then inhale, come up. Keep the gaze centered. And then if you can, turn the gaze to the left. Maybe you'll tap elbow to knee, or we hover and we hold, lowering the right elbow down now. If turning the head feels uncomfortable, just look straight forwards. Lift yourself back up, reach the arms up, straighten through the front leg, lean forwards, triangle pose. So you could lower the right hand to the shin. I'm going to invite you to do that for now. I'm going to turn the gaze down or to the side. And then I'm going to see what it feels like to reach left fingers overhead and forwards. And maybe just for a breath, it's like we're taking hold of this huge big beach ball between our hands. Maybe lift the bottom hand off the leg. Now, a little pointer here, micro bend your front leg. Both hands, palms facing towards one another. And then bend the front leg, step your feet to the top of the mat. Take a halfway lift, inhale. And to fold, exhale. Hands begin to rise, inhale. Thumbs to heart, exhale. Shift the weight to your left foot. Arms rise, right knee hovers. Keep the hands high, bend the standing leg, lean the heart forward, step right toes back into your arrowhead. Remember, you can take different shapes with the arms. If possible, reaching arms forwards, trying to find a lovely straight line from crown of head to the right heel. From here, we windmill through to a warrior two shape, and then bring the hands behind the back of the head. From here, start to turn the nose forwards, and then lift your left elbow up, and maybe begin to dip your right elbow back. See if you can hold here for another 2 breaths. Keep your legs in that warrior two shape. Come back through to center. And then maybe change the gaze as you lower the left elbow and lift the right. Breathe through this. If you need to, you can always support with the bottom elbow, but we're seeing if we can use our core. Lift back up. Inhale. Reach the arms up and out, straighten through the front leg. Setting up for triangle, lean left hand forwards. Place the hand on the shin for beginner, or part 1. And then start to reach the right hand up and over, forwards. This might be enough. Turn the gaze where it feels comfortable for you. And then micro bend the left leg and start to lift the left hand. Palms face in like you're holding onto this big ball. And then lower the hands to your mat. This time step back, downward facing dog. Drop the knees to the earth. Maybe pause for a breath in child's pose. And then from here, slowly make your way onto your spine. Lowering the knees down to one side. Go ahead and just pause here in a gentle supine reclined twist. Any variation that feels good through the legs, the hips. Let the belly soften. And then change it up to the second side. And then coming back to center, I'm going to choose to bring my feet as wide as the mat, TP the knees in for my variation of Savasana today. And I'm going to choose to rest my hands onto my belly to encourage an awareness of completely letting go. It might be that removing the hands in time is more useful to you. Take a shape of Savasana that feels nourishing and completely releasing for you now.
Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like it below, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell icon. Not only will this keep you up to date with my offerings, but will keep content like Tula being free and accessible to all.